But my mom said, I believe in marriage if it's for immigration reasons.
Your mom said that?
Yeah.
That should be on a T-shirt.
Yeah.
That should be on your Visas with James T-shirt.
Yeah.
You know.
My mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, she's pretty liberal, but hey, funny. So yeah, I mean it's a good point because those M visas, or they were called the TP visas before, you can accumulate time like with the retirement visa, or marriage visa is just 2 years now, but the retirement visa after 5 years doing renewals, you can apply for the permanent visa, and then after permanent visa, you have the permanent visa for 5 years if you're like a
That's like
retired
me. I got
guys.
that. I've got the permanent now.
If you get the permanent via marriage, you can go for citizenship in a couple of years. I mean,
is that beneficial? Okay, so let's not jump.
Yeah,
Let's
well,
jump
we
in.
could jump into that later if you want.
Let's talk about the. For those of you who are sitting, listening to this, thinking, I don't know how I'm going to stay here, but I've got a nice female friend or male friend that's going to hook me up with the old marriage visa. How does that work?
Well, just so everybody knows, you can do a civil union here, which is like common law in the States where you're just living together and you kind of just formalize it.
And do the paperwork,
Yeah. Now, then there's regular marriage. Yeah, I mean, it just depends on which way you want to go. Also, in Colombia, right about the same time as the States, they legalize gay marriage, So,
okay, perfect.
We can, you could actually get married to Andrew now. So just keep that in mind.
Time to shut the podcast down and get those nuptials. Yeah.
So, right, talking about marriage, Colombian marriage for a foreigner is not easy. And a lot of guys call me, they're like, I want to marry my Venezuelan girlfriend. I can't go to Venezuela. I want to meet her in Medellin and get married. What's the requirements? I'm like, she didn't live here. You don't live here. You can't do it. Yeah. Two foreigners have to live in Colombia 6 months first. The other common problem we have is, basically, people. If someone in the couple has minor children, then you've got to do this special process where they do inventory of assets. And that inventory of assets is it just keeps people from getting married to someone and divorcing and taking all these, like taking the house away from the kids or something, right? So it's designed and protecting kids.
Okay.
But it takes 3 or 4 months.
That sounds a little backwards to me. So, at least I'm hoping so. So you got a foreign guy coming from a developed nation coming here
to take something from
a Colombian woman with a child.
No,
you're a scumbag if you're out here trying to do that. Like, what's up with that, man? It's like, I got a strategy for life. Go to a developing nation and con a woman out of her money.
That's just a lot of spite,
go find a woman and doesn't have any money, is living with her kid. The dad left her. Most of the cases down here that we do, the women have absolutely nothing. There's nothing in the inventory,
Yeah, exactly.
So
quick inventory, just.
Yeah, I mean, it still has to go through the judge. It takes 3 or 4 months, which is just ridiculous. But it's designed for Colombian, so a foreigner comes here, you just got to go through all these steps, and it's just ridiculous. Yeah.
Okay. So you do the inventory.
Yeah. So I mean, but besides that, I guess if you're looking for a friend to marry to help you out in a certain situation, then find someone that doesn't have kids.
Okay, so kids are the caveat. That's like if you have kids, it kind of throws a curveball in there, a wrench into the equation.
Well, and the other thing is for civil union, it doesn't. We haven't found a place that works outside of Medellin, but here in Medellin, we go through what they call a conciliation center, which is authorized by the court systems. They do a lot of things, like they do divorces and they settle out lawsuits for car wrecks and things like that. So it's they have this. We can set up a civil union with these guys, and it takes 1 or 2 days to get done. So the good thing about these conciliation centers, are like arbitration centers. They don't ask for birth certificates. You can go right in there with a passport and your girlfriend's ID card and just do the civil union.
Wow. Okay. Because
that's the hardest part. One of the hardest things with the requirements for doing a regular marriage at notary was here we use the notaries. Do property closings, to file important papers, right? And marriage is one of them, right? So they require a birth certificate less than 90 days old, plus, if you have a divorce, you're supposed to get that certified and translated and apostolized and bring all those papers down here to Colombia. And you have 90 days, to get it done. And the other thing is that once the notary receives the papers, they want 15 days to marry foreigners now. So,
Wow.
But with the power of attorney, you can send the stuff ahead of time. You can get married. It's a great visa. You get 3 years right off the bat.
Well, how many people are really so? How many people are really wanting to get married? I mean, I think that the number of people in this world that want to get married is decreasing really quickly.
Yeah.
So out of necessity, people are trying to, they're pulling some moves, right? So it's not legal advice.
Yeah.
It's not what this show's for. But my question is, so let's just say I'm trying to pull a fast one. I've only known, I was going to say I know the girl I'm dating, or I've been seeing her, or whatever, sleeping with her, or whatever it might be. And I'm like, hey, I need some help on this. I need some help because I need to stay here. And she's like, well, I'll help you out. But we've only known each other for 6 months. What? But I think the government asks you for 2 years, or what are they asking for?
No, you don't actually have to have 2 years if you get the relationship certified, but they want to see. Actually, this is interesting because just about a month ago, they added on a new requirement for marriage visas or civil union. They're making people show their immigration reports, and they're comparing those immigration reports to what the actual marriage or civil union says, because it says we met in to the date, right? So they cross-reference those dates with the actual immigration report.
Were you here or not?
Yeah, were you here or not?
Yeah.
And then if you're doing the application, and this is very important too. I mean, this is kind of a complicated visa now because they have a lot of papers. Well, just to get married, and then there's the visa part. Everybody that's newly married or new civil union has to go to Bogota to do an interview. They separate people and ask them, 4 or 5 questions, sometimes more, and make sure they line up. If they don't believe you, you don't get the visa,
Yeah, I hear they're doing this whole thing about asking about to see your Facebook and stuff like that. Do you have photos of you and your
together?
Yeah, Sylvia. They asked our friend Sylvia that. Do you have
Because she did the civil union thing.
Yeah, and they were legit because they did live with each other for that time. But they literally asked questions about, can you show us social media with you and that person?
Yeah.
And that type of stuff. And back in the day, there was none of that.
Yeah, if you're prepared for it, you can just say, hey, I'm not a social media kind of guy. They violate my privacy, Facebook is really bad, and you can kind of use that angle. Yeah, but some people go up there not prepared and they're like, hey, let me see your phone, They got that from the U.S. Embassy, actually. U.S. Immigration. So U.S. Embassy likes to do that too.
Yeah, let me see your phone. Let me see your laptop.
Then there's a girl in there. She's like, oh wait, you saying I love you more? You're saying I love you to 10 different guys here.
10 different guys. Yeah.
What's this about, money?
Yeah. Oh shit. I got a story about that too of somebody I know.
But the marriages do happen for that reason too, because these girls are young, beautiful girls down here, getting a retired guy down here and getting married, and they're like working it, and they're like, oh, let's buy a house, and then, you buy a house when you're married, boy, it's 50%, goes to the girl. So some of them are in and out like bandits, man. Boy, they get themselves a house real quick, I
don't know. My opinion on that is listen. She talked about this, I don't know, 2 episodes or 3 episodes ago. It's like, you're a 60-year-old, 50-year-old, 40-year-old, whatever, man. And you got a girl that's half your age and stunning, right? She's putting up with you for some friggin' reason, unless you're Brad Pitt or you got some George Clooney. She is giving up something to get something. Right? You're just not some stud that only this one woman in Colombia sees, because at home they would have seen that too.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Goes both ways.
It goes both ways.
Yeah.
So don't, I don't get involved in the whole, the trolling, reading these comments and comments, because I find some stuff really ridiculous where guys, you'll see on these Facebook groups, are trash talking Colombian women about using and about taking half or whatever it is. And you got to understand, man, they gotta get something out of the friggin' equation.
Yeah.
What is this? I don't understand. It's a man's world and all that shit, but you can't come here.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want to deal with that. Don't play that game.
Go back and date a 65-year-old woman.
Yeah, go out.
There you go.
Get yourself a nice 40-year-old.
Yeah.
So
and there's a big chance, right? You gotta understand that there's a big chance that If you think usually in life, anywhere in the world, if it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. But there's nothing wrong with enjoying it's too good to be true if you're willing to at some point part with half your shit.
Yeah.
Right? So you're gonna do that, and that's the reality of it.
Yeah, that's true.
And speaking of that, it's fun because we do the prenuptials in our office, and some of the guys decide to wait till they're taking the girl to the notary to sign the papers to say, hey, this is the prenup here. Why don't you look it over? And we hate it when that happens because then, usually one of my attorneys is sitting around the notary for like 2 or 3 hours while these guys fight, But prenuptials are important. But a flip to that, not just the Colombian marriage visa, there's also the American marriage visa. Same kind of thing. If you want to see some funny stories, YouTube that 90-Day Fiancé Visa reality show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and there's some backstories on that. They're pretty interesting. But it's the same idea,
That's the woman trying to get an American visa to go there.
Yeah,
and they're
yeah.
leaving.
I mean, sometimes it's guys. More often it's the women, and you get a retired guy or maybe someone that's not so attractive, but they're falling for this very attractive person, that needs a visa.
Yeah.
All kinds of stories. Yeah. Yeah, so the guy in the States, it could be a girl. The guy in the States he's getting what he wants. He just wants a
hot woman,
and she's getting money.
Yeah,
and so it's a mutual exchange. So don't fool yourself.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So for all you hot women out there from other countries, I'm Colombian and I'm not married and I got no children, and I will do your visa.
You'll do the visa?
I'll do the visa.
Are you want a visa?
No, I don't need one. No, if you want a Colombian visa, hit me up.
If you want to become a Colombian, Andrew will make you a Colombian.
You want to extend your stay out here?
Yeah.
Do something.
Well, how much you going to charge for that service? Is that free?
Shit, charge. I might have to pay them.
So let's flip it around. I mean, there's some retired women coming down here too. 65, 70. You could
say what now?
help them out. Yeah.
I can swim in that ocean.
No, you can't swim in that ocean. Wait, what? Wait,
65, 70. The coronavirus age.
Yeah. What?
Damn, coronavirus age. Yo, this is a timestamp in this podcast because we're talking about coronavirus. A couple of years from now, somebody looks at it like, what the hell's a coronavirus? It's like if we're talking about SARS.
Drinking beer.
Which my dad, by the way, he's talking to me the other day. He's calling it SARS. And I didn't correct him. I'm like, what are you talking about SARS? He's like, because we're going out to Portugal, and he's like, yeah, it got renamed. It's the same virus?
Yeah, COVID-19 got renamed to SARS-2 or something like that.
Version 2, yeah.
So wait, so Corona is SARS?
COVID-12.
Yeah.
Some modern
They're
version.
repackaging shit like your business name. The same James, man. It's the same guy. It's just repackaging. Okay, Corona, the new name.
Yeah.
So okay, and when you get this because we've had friends like our friend Mike, he's gonna go by Mike, who got that visa, but he legitimately had been with his girlfriend. They have an apartment together and stuff like that. When you get that, so regardless if you're legit or you con the system, how long are you getting that visa?
That visa's 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then after the 3 years, what happens?
Well, you don't even have to wait 3 years now because they lowered the full residency visa time. It used to be 3 years.
Yeah.
There was a TP10 before. Now it's a migrant visa. The migrant marriage visa, after 2 years, you can go for the full residency.
Oh, okay.
Well, wait, what happens? What happens in your case? Like the case that you mentioned, I think you alluded to it earlier on the episode.
Yeah.
So me and my girl, we legitimately have been together, and I'm like, all right, let's do this. So we get this visa. They give me the 3 year or whatever, and she's like, cheats on me, for example, and leaves my ass, right? She's like, I don't want shit to do with you. At that point, is my visa done, or I just get to live out my time, or what? Well, how does that work?
Well, it's interesting because civil union, technically, if you're not living together anymore, then you kind of automatically kind of end the relationship. But like a marriage, for example, I had a guy go in and he applied for his pension visa because his marriage visa ran out. And he just explained the girl, she just disappeared on me. She's in the States. I don't know where she is, man.
What?
She migrated, left my ass in out of the West.
Yeah. So he explained, because they were trying to get them. What they're always trying to do when you change from a marriage visa to another visa, they're trying to get you to admit something where they can give you a fine. You know, like, oh, you've been illegal for a year. You've been, you know, you didn't tell us. You ended the relationship. You got a divorce, and you didn't apply for. You got 30 days to apply for a new visa. But you could be separated. But if you don't have a divorce, then, you know, I mean, the divorces can take 2 years or 3 years even, depending on if you have kids and property.
But while you're in a divorce, you're still like, so 3 years of visa's up.
You haven't actually gotten a divorce, so
Yeah.
immigration can't do anything to you about that, but you could apply for something else explaining that situation.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I got that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, I guess moving on to, I guess the last type of visa that we'll talk about is the real estate visa. So let's say I wanted to buy a property. I heard you guys mention an amount that someone has to spend here.
Yeah, right. And so there's two different visas. It's 350 times the minimum salary, and then there's 650 times the minimum salary. A lot of these visas are based on what they call minimum salary in Colombia. And so, yeah, I mean, like when we're talking about pension visas, they're 3 times the minimum salary. The business owner visa is 100 times, and the property visa is 350 times the minimum salary.
Which is what? You know, the minimum salary
It's
here?
like 780, no?
Minimum monthly?
It's 800 and it's close to 880,000.
Oh, okay, yeah, it went up. Yeah.
Because it's 88 million for the business owner visa. So actually, 350. I mean, the current exchange rate is. I haven't done the calculations because it's gone up to
3555.
Yeah, so I mean, we got 350 times the 880.
That was divided.
Whoops.
James has
1 second.
And Andrew's not the best at math, so I don't know. With two of you together are going to make a dream team.
Oh, 1 second, one more.
For
Three-
discussion with a car and a calculator.
Yeah.
Yeah, man,
Brought his own
check it out.
calculator.
Oh shit, yeah. You know, we're talking a little over 300 million. I mean, you know, so but we divide that by the crazy exchange rate right now. You know, we say $85,000, 90,000 would be, you know, for this year for the lower entry visa. Okay.
What does that give you? Less time?
3 years, yeah. I mean, if you get in with the 650 time minimum salary will get you the permanent visa, you know.
Right away. Straight off
right
the bat.
away, yeah.
So 650 times the minimum salary.
Yep.
650 times
Yeah.
880,000.
There you go.
880. Is what? How much is that? The calculator said.
Yeah, shit. Hold on a second.
All right. Yeah.
I can't, you know, the 2020 kicked in here. 1 second. 650.
Yeah.
There we go.
There it is. It's 57.
What?
Sums off.
550 million.
570 million.
Give me 1
That's
second.
1 0 off. So 570 million is somewhere around
Okay, no.
180, 170 based on my
Yeah,
just little
180,000.
170, 180. So you spend 170, you buy a nice, money talks. Everything else is bullshit.
Right.
So because you can be over there, you'll be like, yep, I see this nice penthouse. Okay, for example, you can't get a shoebox in Toronto you can't even find a
180,
property
yeah,
for
for
200,000. You can't even find a shithole, a dump.
Right.
So if you be like, all right, I got some money put aside. I'm gonna sell this place I got right now,
Yep.
and I'm gonna just buy a property over there for 170,000, 180,000 US. They'll give you residency right away.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
Yeah. And here we go. We got the values here. So, 307 million, which is, at this time.
Like 85.
Yeah, I mean, because the exchange rate just changed a
It
lot.
just changed so much,
Just
yeah.
a month ago was 92,000, okay? And that'll get you a 3-year visa.
So imagine now it's like 85,000.
Yeah, and the 650 minimum salaries is 570 million's right, you know. And the a couple months ago was 171,000, but right now it's probably like 165. Right?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So 165. So does it matter where they get that money? For example, like does it have to be in one account? Can it be like, let's say, loans or whatever?
Well, that's a good question. Well, they call these investment visas direct investments.
Okay.
So the money, if the banker's really looking at it when they qualify your wire transfer, sometimes they're not paying attention, but you should send the money from your personal banking account overseas into your personal banking account here in Colombia or directly to the seller, which is kind of, you're probably not going to want to do that because you want to be able to go into the notary when you buy the place and hand over like a cashier's check.
Yeah.
And not just wire the money and say, hey, please sign the papers. I just paid you, $200,000.
Person takes off and leaves your ass.
Yeah, right. When the money comes into Colombia, everybody's seen the movies, right? So what goes with drugs is money laundering. Mm-hmm. So Colombia has some really, really strict banking rules, right? So, anytime you try to receive money from overseas, they're like, what's this from? Where's it going? What are you doing?
Oh, yeah.
I can testify.
I can testify. It happens almost every month for us.
Every time we do a transfer, they trust me. They ask where that money came from in the U.S. They ask for the last 3 months of movements in my U.S. account.
They want your signed contract with the company.
All of that.
Tax returns, everything,
Everything,
it's, some people are like, well, it's in my bank. Isn't that legal? I'm like, not necessarily.
Not necessarily,
So you got to show where the money's coming from and where it's going. And where it's going, what makes them happy if you're buying a property is you show them a purchase contract, right?
Yeah. Or agreement to purchase. Compraventa, it's called here, right? Like a compraventa that is a promise to buy,
Yep. And so, when you have those two things, they're pretty happy at that time. But just keep in mind, if you do, if the deal falls through and you told the bank you're going to buy property and you don't buy property, you better update them because they'll come around looking at property records in a couple of years.
But this is something you mentioned that I really never thought of. But you said, okay, so let's say you put this 70, 80 grand down for the basic 3 year. Mm-hmm. What the hell? If I buy a property for 80 grand, you give me a 3 year. You mean you're the Colombian government?
Yeah.
You give me 3 years a visa. It's still my property after 3 years. What the hell am I doing with a property and no visa after 3 years? How does that work? What's happening?
Yeah, you got to be careful because that's going to be M visa, the migrant visa, which is not the full residency. So you have to make sure that you have another visa lined up, or when 3 years goes by, if the if it's like it is right now, the inflation's been about 6% a year. So let's say the visa is going to go up, the qualifying amount is going to go up 18%. So you need to make sure you buy a property that's a little bit more expensive, or
meaning a second property, or
the first, or you could buy a second property. Some people go out and they buy a parking lot or a storage unit, or you just buy a property that's a little bit more expensive so that you're covering yourself in 3 years.
That's pretty freaking crazy.
Yeah.
Also, at that time when the value of that property at a particular point matches the inflation.
Right. So if I bought something at like 300 million pesos, if I bought something that was like 400 million, and it qualified for the first visa, a little over 300 million, then hopefully that's going to be enough.
So that type of visa is for like people who have I don't give a shit money. I'm just saying, because you're like, I'm going to pay a rental fee of 80,000 to be in Colombia for
3 years.
3 years, and then after 3 years, I'll decide. And if I need another one, I'll just buy another one. Yeah. Because that's not like realistic.
Well, 3 years, you can find a wife.
Yeah.
True.
Have a kid.
True.
Andrew's got like 5 kids.
Yeah.
They just don't know where daddy is.
Baby daddy.
So here you have this flyer that actually is pretty helpful. So it says here like the basic steps to getting real estate in Colombia for the visa, right? So number one is to open up a financial account, which you said you need because you need to transfer the money from the U.S. to Colombia.
Right.
And then number two, it says title investigation with a real estate attorney. So that part right there.
That's important.
Yeah. Well, why is that important?
Well, right. We don't have title insurance like they have in the United States, okay? So you have to go through and not just make sure there's no liens on the property. You got to make sure that there wasn't, Pablo Escobar's little cousin that was,
Lil Escobar.
Lil Smoothie or whatever his name is.
Yeah. That's real important. Also, there's a list. They call it the Clinton list down here. In the States, they don't call it the Clinton list. It's I guess it came on during President Clinton's time. But the OFAC list, it's international money laundering criminal list. It also lists terrorist names or properties. You can search by property or by name. But then we also have to do police background checks. You got to make sure.
Yeah.
I have a friend that worked for one of these banks down here, and he said, before they give loans out on properties, they do the home loan. They'll check the entire history, all the names on the property. It doesn't matter. They'll go back 10 years, 20 years, and if anybody shows up with any kind of criminal history, if it's something that's related to a reason that they could confiscate the property, they want to prove it.
You got to be careful with the things you say. I don't. So what we're talking about here is, for those of you who've watched Narcos and all of these shows, Netflix shows, and if you didn't know, there's a very big drug mafia history in Colombia. It still goes on. It's less in the public prominent, but there's, if you own a property, for example, you want to buy a property from somebody and you don't do your research, and that property gets connected back to a name that's related, and their family names, we're not going to call those names on this show, then your property can literally be taken from you, in a very simple way of putting it. And a real situation.
So you're fucked out of your money, you're fucked out
exactly,
of your visa.
You got nothing to go on.
It doesn't matter that the property changed hands. Here in Colombia, they can take you for something that a previous owner did,
Right,
know. I mean, it's rare that it happens, and usually in the cities, you're in pretty good shape.
Well, not really. Remember that hotel? A certain hotel that was on the way to the airport.
I was going to mention that, like, by
Yeah.
Yeah. It's called.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say.
Yeah.
Imagine the name's fading from my mind right now, but it's
Meritage.
Meritage. So we're gonna talk about Meritage, which is a hotel which I knew quite a few both foreigners.
But that was not a hotel. It was
It was a
apartment
hotel.
complex.
It was a hotel property complex. It's sort of like
like houses and hotel
Yeah.
and
It was
the
a-
whole thing.
it was a
like,
huge-
It was a
My
development.
mom,
It was amazing. It was gonna be
my
amazing.
mom almost
Yeah.
invested in that.
Yeah. If you come down
You had
from the
some
airport,
celebrities that invested in
Exactly.
there and
A
lost
lot of
money.
people, yeah, man.
lot of people
Amazing how many people invested money in there. I mean, the value of the initial phase was like about $200 million, and that's
Yeah.
a huge amount.
Isn't it amazing? I know
$200
architects that are
million
involved. I know a lot of people that were involved. I knew the head of finance that was involved, who was a friend of ours. He's gone. But literally, if you take, now there's a tunnel. So if you're coming into Medellin, if you're listening to this and you've never been here, then you might not ever see this development. But if you have been in Medellin and you wonder what this structure is, just before you get to the toll booth, there's this like abandoned construction site that just seems
It's like bare
odd in the middle of
bones,
nowhere.
Yeah.
That's it. And literally, that is because that is tied up to names that are related to the narco
To the
business.
list, yeah.
And actually, a certain a very respected, well-renowned athlete here. I know that particular person got out just in time, but there's a lot of people who literally threw their money. I don't know what happened now.
And it's
but
probably
talk
still
to
tied
them.
up in there.
It's still tied up.
Oh yeah, I mean it's crazy. I mean, people are estimating that lawsuit will take 8 to 10 years to fix it up.
Yeah, it's craziness. So that's something that won't happen like in Toronto. Like you
So
don't have to
title
worry about it.
investigation is huge.
Yeah.
I've actually heard. I had a student because I used to teach English here, and she said, and this may happen with lower budget properties, but she said that her family bought a property or was in the process of buying a property, and when they went, and at some point, the person that was selling it to them had falsified the title into their name,
Yeah.
and it really didn't. They weren't the real owners. So when they got the property, they paid, they signed everything, and they got to the property. The real property owner showed up and like, "What are you doing here? This
Yeah.
is my property. I never sold it."
Dang, that's
Have you
crazy.
ever heard of that?
We did have a case where someone falsified a property owner certificate. So you don't just accept those property owner certificates from the sellers.
Yeah.
You have to take the information of the property
Yeah.
and go on the government website and download a fresh copy.
Okay.
That's
And-
such a common thing here.
Yeah, people do that.
Yeah, because I remember, obviously, more and more buildings and things have been constructed over the years. But even as a kid, I remember a lot of like empty lots.
Yeah.
They will have like huge signs that says, "We're not selling this. Do not fall for it. We're not selling
Yeah,
this.
this
do
is not for
fall
sale.
it."
Yeah. Oh, I
Wow,
have
that's
seen
crazy.
those. Well, actually, we commented that one time we saw it. We're like, why do they have a sign? Usually you have a for sale
For sale,
sign,
not
and then
for
one time it's like, this property is not for sale, and we're like, wait, why? They must be getting a lot of calls, but now it all makes sense.
So somebody is selling a property that doesn't
Yeah,
belong
maybe,
to them.
or because they don't want people to be scammed. So for those of you watching that want to get all these steps and the information, you could get it on James's website, and we'll also put this flyer up as a graphic on the YouTube video. As far as real estate goes, is there anything else glaring that someone should be aware about other than the title thing?
Well, yeah, if someone knows like that there's a divorce between a couple and they're selling a property, you have to pay both parties equally. Or, for example, guy says, I'm in a divorce, don't worry about it, I'm going to receive the money, it's cool. Which one guy one time told us, and his wife showed up at our office a couple of days later, it's like, I get half of anything, and that's the way it is. If I paid everything to that guy, she could have come around later and sued the new property owner for 50%. So divorces are a tricky thing.
Oh shit. Okay.
And also, if someone says there's a inheritance in process, and you've got 10 different people, and they say their dad died or whatever, but the judge doesn't have a final ruling, don't touch it. Wait till the court rules on it first. But besides that, the title history is just really important, But we've done a lot of really successful property deals here.
That's great.
So, but you go through the steps.
What's your somebody's coming down here and they're looking for an area right now to buy in? What would you say? I know you're not as big into that real estate right now. You're more into. What's your advice?
Well, we still handle a lot of we do a lot of the paperwork. Now I don't really buy and sell property as much as I used to. But nice areas. I mean, it just depends on the person, right? A lot of retired people, some people don't like to be in Poblado because they don't like to walk up and down hills. They like Morelos and, Medellin, Envigado, the lower areas, right? But other people don't care. They got a car. But you guys know a lot of people are moving up into the higher areas around the airport because it's cooler up there.
Yeah. Cool weather.
I mean, but depends on what you want. If you like to be around restaurants and the discotecas and stuff, hey, Medellin's where you want to be.
Yeah, Medellin.
But Guatapé, I mean, a lot of people are buying up properties out there in Guatapé.
Really?
Yeah. Oof. I mean, it's further out. It's less. It's a lot closer because we got the tunnel now.
I realized you just said oof.
Well, yeah, I was just gonna say, you've been here for a long time.
Yeah.
When you say oof.
It was subconscious.
Oof,
Yeah.
parce.
Oof.
Parce.
He got oofed.
He got
Entonces.
And
Is that a Fitbit? What you got there?
No, this is a cheap version of the Fitbit. This is the $30 one.
Let's see.
Like one for like a Colombian Fitbit?
Look at that. Yeah. No, I got it in the States.
The
Oh, you got that.
Yeah,
I've been relatively lazy
The
today.
battery's dead and shit. Oh, you can't even read the time, man. Come on,
And
James.
it's
You've been here.
it popped up. It's like on its way out, but it's
It's
still
on
getting
its way out.
I gotta charge it up.
We jump off the visa for a quick second because you said something, and I just want to. You said that you had some stomach issues. You caught a.
Yeah.
What'd you get?
Well, I mean, they get a lot in the States too. It's called the H. pylori. It's a bacteria, and it's really prevalent down here. And even the doctor said that Colombia's got its own version, from the States, just like the colds and other viruses and stuff. But it gives you gastritis, and but the only thing good about this whole thing I can say is that when I got the bad gastritis, I really felt Colombian.
Yeah, because they get a lot of gastritis.
Yeah, for those of you visiting, you'll hear a lot of people. The reason why they can't go to work today is because they got gastritis, or they can't eat something, or can't go on a date with you, or whatever. Oh, I got gastritis.
Gastritis.
I've never heard of gastritis in my gastritis.
Yeah, until I got down here.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck is gastritis? You can't call. I know in my work in Canada I couldn't call in sick because of gastritis.
You got fart disease.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it makes you fart, but
I have chronic gastritis.
Chronic gastritis.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, see, I never knew that existed, but it obviously exists here, and it's a legitimate thing. But I've never had it. Knock on wood.
Well, you throw a little stress in there, a little work, maybe going through a divorce like myself, and then it's not a good combination. So about a year ago, I lost about 25 pounds in 10 days. But, I started eating
You
healthy.
could package that shit up like the Atkins or something.
Yeah,
Just
man,
go
I'm
through
telling
divorce,
you.
get some stress. Got a lot of people in the U.S. that could buy that.
Divorce and gastritis.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want some divorce and gastritis? Well, I did a lot of natural supplements and stuff, and I went back for a test, and the doctor said, you almost got rid of it. They're also so into medicine that they don't believe it when somebody says they're taking supplements and it's working,
Yeah.
But with all that being said, I probably will just finish it off with a little bit of antibiotics, starting next week.
But what's that? The reason I brought that up is not to point out the fact that you are human and you get sick. Is that I think a lot of people wanting to move here. I mean, your clients you're talking about retirees and stuff like that. What do you think? What's your personal opinion about healthcare in Colombia?
Yeah, I mean, my personal opinion is always try to avoid the doctors. But, hey, if you got to do it, you got to do it. I did, when I was taking all these natural supplements just about a month ago, I did end up in the hospital because I had really bad stomach pain because even natural supplements could be really strong. Yeah, I mean, one thing I learned just recently was, don't wait for an ambulance. Just go on a taxi because you could die if you wait on the ambulance here, for sure. And, I went to a regular small clinic and they said, no, you need to get CT scanned. So we'll transfer you. The ambulance will be here in 30 minutes. And it came in 3 hours, My idea of catching the ambulance was not to go through another admission process where I sit in the waiting room.
Take a damn Uber.
Yeah, I know. And it was and the ambulances are just crappy here. Anyways, I mean, it wasn't even that far away. So I learned my lesson there. And someone else told me that they know someone that died because they were waiting on the ambulance to come, and you can't get, if you can't get someone to get you into a taxi, make sure you got some friends that are big enough to carry your ass or something,
Not big enough to carry his ass. I'm not carrying his ass.
The Emmy, for that sense, the Emmy is like the
Oh,
best
yeah,
option.
that's right.
yeah,
Emmy is a great
it's
service.
like a private
like an
ambulance
award
You
service.
can pay for it. Don't rely on the cops to call the ambulances because they won't call if they don't think you're really going to die. And, some client of mine died last year, supposedly just trying to get an ambulance to get his ass.
Jesus.
Wow.
And so what is it like when you're there, though? You're at the hospital and your baby was just in the hospital
Yeah,
also.
she had a bad flu, but miraculously they gave her an IV, and I mean, that same afternoon she was playing in the park for 3 hours because babies are crazy like that. They
Yeah.
bounce back. But I have the premium insurance, okay? When I say premium insurance, if you get sick and you have the regular, what they call EPS, right? You just go to a hospital. You got to be dying or bleeding on the floor
For them to
before
pay
they let you in.
attention.
Yeah, you get the premium insurance.
And even then, maybe though.
Yeah, maybe they'll fix
So
it.
what's the premium insurance? What's that like? What are you paying for
Well, I
that?
use Surda. I mean, there's
Me too.
They're the most
Yeah,
popular.
Surda Brothers.
They got
Surda
too
They
too
got-
many people at Surda now. When I first started there, when the clinic was new, there was nobody there, but
Yeah.
they got the best coverage. There you go.
Oh, wait,
That's
got
it.
the Surda.
The
I got-
Surda
Wait,
card.
why is your card all
I got
nice?
a new one. This is don't be zooming in on my
got one
numbers.
of
You can
mine,
blur
dude. I
this
got
out
mine
later.
with me.
You got we're Surda brothers.
But I got my.
Look at mine.
Yeah, I don't know how much we pay now. I think we
credit cards
pay.
here.
Oh,
I look.
Yeah, I think
look
you
at
got,
that. Hey,
he's
that's
got the
too far.
dated
I
one.
got-
You
We're
got
all
the
ready,
dated
man.
one. Yeah,
That's
got
my
the
baby's
Surda
card.
brothers.
Yeah, Surda Brothers.
And sister.
Wait. Let me see what it just says.
How much is that a month?
Oh, you
I
got
don't
you got the classic familiar, clásico familiar.
Me too.
I got
You know, family. Huh?
I got the global.
Global. Oh, this one's global,
Global.
too.
Oh damn.
Global.
Thought
I
was
hope mine
special.
is goddamn global because
But
I try.
that's another thing. If you do the global, they work off a SIS card, and I've been waiting for 2 years for a SIS card to pay me for some visits I had in the United States. But that's another
Yeah.
story. But actually, I mean, I just pay about 750,000 pesos, right? So that's like $200. That's for me
Yeah.
and my baby,
Yeah.
and you get, even if you go to Clinica Las Vegas, if you don't even go to the regular clinic here,
Yeah.
the Clinica Las Vegas has a section. It's a VIP section where you get more
VIP.
attention
Yeah,
in
like
the
private,
hospital.
yeah.
You get, and then just that right outside of that section, there's all the people at the EPS. They've got like half the doctors, and we got like 4 doctors in this little space for like 8 beds, or nurses, right? Nurses and doctors. So there's a big difference in service, and they don't. When you have the basically public worker insurance, they're just looking for ways not to give you medicine. And then when you have the other one, they're almost giving you too much medicine, too much treatment,
So I'll say something about that because I'm Canadian. It's a lot different, and I'm not really sure how it works back in the U.S.
Yeah.
We have something called, at least in Ontario, OHIP, which it's our health insurance, and the complaint is that, like, if you want to see a specialist or whatever, you got to wait a long time, but it's free. It's free healthcare. And I honestly, I've never really been a sickly person where I have to go and get, see this specialist and that specialist. So I've been lucky or blessed in that way. But here, a lot of people worry, particularly Canadians listening out there. I let my health card expire. And when I went back to renew it, I thought I'd go back and let it renew it and I keep getting my health care. They're like, okay, well, show us your visa stamps or your passport stamps showing that you've been here for more than X number of
No.
days.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, okay, can't do that. So I had to let my thing expire. And now I remember at some point I was paying about 120, it's probably a bit more, or it might be around there, 120 US dollars per month for health insurance. However, with that health insurance, I can show up anywhere I want at any time I want. I can book, now there's an app. You know, you can find a specialist, you can book right in there, and it's pretty fast unless it's like a really
the Sura app. Yeah, it's good, yeah.
Oh, I
And so,
love that
so
app,
you're
yeah.
spending, for those of you coming down here, man, if you can afford that $130, by the way, so again, to put things in perspective, James just said that he pays about 200 US for himself and daughter.
Yeah,
right?
and those are the highest costs. A newborn, well, she's 2.5 years old, and me, I'm 51. So we're like in, extreme ranges. But kids, they always got to go to the doctor.
Wait, you're 51?
Yeah.
You don't look it. You don't have a white hair
Even
on your
after
head.
I lost 20 pounds, right?
That actually makes you look younger, probably.
Maybe, yeah.
But what I wanted to point out about that is that, okay, which we can tie all these episodes together at some point. We talk about, for example, paying for a girl's taxi, and some guys are beefing over paying for a girl's 9,000 peso taxi from the hood or wherever the hell they are to come down here for like $3, right? If you can afford 200 US dollars for just your health insurance and the minimum wage,
You get the VIP health.
the VIP, you said 600,000,
Yeah.
and the minimum wage is 800,000.
Yeah.
So 608, that's 3/4 of your salary as a minimum wage person here. You can't afford that insurance.
Right.
But as a person who's making money from outside or has a business, it is worth every cent. You'll get way better treatment, much more VIP service than you would in the US or in Canada by just having that. And not just that. If you're worried like I was about, okay, well, I live for most of the year here in Colombia, but I do go to Canada, and I don't have insurance when I'm in Canada, or I might go to the US. What happens? Your insurance policy here covers you while you're there.
Yeah, I mean, and the other thing is the co-pays. I mean, when I went to the emergency room, I paid, what was it?
50,000?
No, it was like 30 something thousand pesos to get in.
$10.
Yeah, and then the parking was literally the same price. So and they actually they gave me a CT scan, right? I mean the whole
whole
this
thing.
put you in the tube and all that. Nothing, had to pay nothing. There was no
Yeah.
copay.
And the other thing to point out, because I've been through it, Andrew lately has been doing tests and stuff and just getting his stuff cleared. But I've been into medical facilities here where I'm like, holy shit, I feel like I'm in the future. Like they've got really I've been into clinics and stuff here where I feel like I'm further along in technology than I am in Canada. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I step in, I'm like, wow, this is fancy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people out there, they're like, for example, my little brother, he's about to make his first solo trip. So cute, he's going to go by himself and travel. And he's asking me, I told Andrew, he's saying he's going to be in Costa Rica. He's got to get a flight at 6 a.m. Is that okay to get a taxi that early? And I think like the perspective is so different because after all this whole Narcos thing and Netflix thing, and if people begin to think about Colombia, they're like, oh, fuck, I don't want to get injured when I'm out in Colombia. What if I get sick there?
Yeah.
I might just die. No, like dentistry, medical tourism is huge here.
It is.
I have these, right now, sometimes I fuck up my words. It's because I have these Invisalign things because I never put metal in my mouth. And by the way, we're going to have an entire episode on medical tourism, dentistry and stuff because my dentist said, hey, yeah, I'd love to come on and talk. And he speaks fluent English. But like, Invisalign here is half the price or less than it is in the United States,
man.
and this guy's been doing Invisalign for over 10 years. So don't think that coming here, don't let one of your fears be that, oh, I'm gonna die because they don't have medicine or they don't have good doctors and stuff. It's like really, it's on point.
And some aspects of medicine are like so. I know this that my best friend he's from here but he lives in the U.S. And it's cheaper for him to come with his whole family, that is wife and 3 kids, to come here for a dental appointment than to pay for that dental appointment in the U.S.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Another interesting comparison. Usually people tell me when they're down here and they don't have any insurance, or like, I just had my appendix out or something, or I had my hip replaced. And I'm like, you know what? I paid cash, and it was less than my deductible in the States.
Less than the deductible.
You know.
That's insane.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I guess kind of rounding off, James, what would be your tip or tips for someone that wanted to come to Colombia, not retirement age, let's say middle-aged, and I guess we're talking about males because we're males, and you probably deal with mostly males.
Yeah.
And
You're probably a male.
female.
Well, I mean, yeah, right, probably. Last time I checked.
Last time.
Let me see your ID.
Yeah. Said you left.
So, man, I mean, the most important thing you guys know, being down here around Parque Lleras, going out, is that there's sometimes Colombia's like the twilight zone, and the opposite happens here. And you know,
That's such a great fucking quote.
Yeah.
It's a twilight zone.
It is the twilight zone.
It is.
I mean, in Miami, I mean, there was always these cases, these guys, you know, or even in college, the guys are drugging the girls up, right?
Yeah.
Down here, not all of them, but you got to watch your drink down here. The girls will drug you up just to, you know, go to your hotel room and take your laptop, your passport, your money, and haul ass, you know? So
It sounds
that's number one.
like poetic fucking justice, doesn't it?
Yeah, right.
It sounds like the world is balancing itself out
That
in
right,
Colombia.
does, yeah.
Yeah, you guys
Yeah, but
date
you could
rape.
die. But you could die.
Zero
You
sum.
could die.
Hey, you could die. I mean, a girl getting raped in the United States or in Canada,
No,
get
but
a
I'm
date
saying
rape
like
drug
the-
is.
No, but I'm saying that they could scope you and overdose you, and you could die.
I don't know if you could die off of a date rape drug, a GH, what is it?
GH.
But
GHB,
what if it's with a
but-
lot of liquor, and you know, maybe you're doing a couple lines of coke, you know, then you know your body tilts out, right? But now I should say something. I should say something nice too. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, when you come down to Colombia, I mean, I just don't want to be negative, right?
Yeah.
You know. When you come to Colombia, if it's your first time here, Medellin has got the perfect temperature. You know, the people are very nice. I mean, there's a lot of places to visit in Colombia. But of course, we settled down
Sorry,
here.
James, are you balancing out you might get scopolamina drugged
Yeah.
out with there's nice temperatures? No, we don't talk about the nice temperatures. I talked about the nice temperatures yesterday. You good. You're
Okay.
clear. People know
There
how
you go.
nice the
Anyway,
temperature is.
it's a
But
big
you
tip.
think that the tip is watch your drinks and shit because you could get drugged and you could get all your money and stuff taken from you. It's a
For
reality.
sure.
It could happen.
And scopolamine is real.
It's real.
It's a zombie drug because the girls can actually, if you get drugged up, and they ask you and you get scoped, they call it scoped, right?
Yeah.
You'll actually give them your PIN number and you
Yeah.
won't know
Oh
it.
yeah.
A friend of mine walked some thieves out of his apartment and told the doorman it was okay that they were taking his TVs and
Everything,
his
yeah.
stereo with them. And when he woke up, he went downstairs and bitched out the door. What the hell? What happened?
Videos on there, though.
And he said, "Look, here you are telling us everything's okay."
yeah.
Wow.
It's a real
crazy drug.
thing.
That
I mean, I've
is
seen
nuts.
people in the UK. What's the name of the Guardian did a story on? They said it's just bullshit. It's a wives' tale, but it's real, man.
It's real.
No, I
It's
know
real
people
down
that
here.
it's happened to, like first-hand
Yeah.
accounts.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hadn't happened to me, but you know, I have one friend of mine. It's happened to him like 5 times. You know, but
He keeps going after those girls in Parque Lleras.
yeah.
What about somebody coming to try to set up business or get a visa?
No, I mean, if you set up business down here, there's a lot of good opportunities. Agricultural sectors, you know, people doing really good with real estate. You know, there's small tourism operations. A lot of people would set up tourism operations down here, little hotels. They're doing great, you know. So there's some good opportunities there. With the visas, it's just, you know, if you're coming from the States or a developed country like Canada or the UK or something, then you're gonna get 6 months without a visa. Come check it out. You know, stay a couple months so you know that you know what place is really right for you.
Yeah.
You know, every city has a little different flavor. Cartagena is a lot different from Medellin. Cali, you know, it's a pretty cool place to party. Bogota is fun for some people. They really want a cold place to live. But you know, I mean,
Where
it's-
does a 51-year-old like yourself like to party?
well, right now I'm getting over this gastritis, so I can't party. But,
Party.
Getting over this gastritis.
I'm doing it. I'm projected to be good in a month or two. So.
Then what are you doing when you're in
I
top tip top
I
shape?
call up Joel and Andrew and
Yeah.
see where they're at because
But
they're younger.
we go hard, man.
Yeah.
We work hard, but we play pretty hard too. So I don't know if your gastritis is gonna
It'll come back.
handle up.
I had
Bring
to
that
take
back.
some Galveston before I
Yeah.
go out. You know, some.
So what do you do?
coat
What
the
do you do? Yeah.
stomach.
What does a dude? You're a younger version of the typical. You're not a
51-year-old. Yeah,
you're
not
very
like
young. What are you
Oh
doing?
man,
What-
I mean, I go to the gym. I try to walk to office and stuff like that. But when I go out, I like to go out to the clubs and.
Do you dance?
Yeah.
You do
I-
salsa, bachata, all that, or?
Yeah, I'm a little rusty because I was married for a little while, right? But
Oh,
but I was pretty good when I first started going out with her. We were taking salsa classes and the merengue.
Yeah.
Now
Now you got a Fitbit to count how many steps you're walking.
Hey, man.
Times have changed, man. Yeah. But no, but you still hit you still get out there and go to where do you know a name that you would go, or you have to call up friends and ask them where to go?
wait, whoa.
Yeah, right.
I actually have a good question. Would you go out to Parquilleras?
Yeah, I mean, I would. I mean, there's I start off there, maybe wouldn't finish there. There's a couple clubs. It depends on where people are going. I kind of just go with the crowd.
Yeah, I heard that because 2 weekends ago, I went to Parquilleras for the first time in a while, and I couldn't believe how much it changed.
Yeah.
It's like prostitute city.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
there are clubs full
Yeah.
of prostitutes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, what? It was a Thursday too. It was a Thursday night. I went out with a girl and we're like, oh, let's just go to Yeras and see what's going on, because usually it's a Thursday night, everything else is dead. But that place was popping, and there was like girls everywhere, and she's like, this seems weird. I'm like, yeah, this does seem weird.
That's not the way it was, people. Because if you're
Yeah.
reading an outdated read, and this is a very important tip when you're doing your internet research, is also look at the date of when something was published. Because
Sure.
if you're reading an article that I wrote
In
back
2015?
in 2015 even, 2014, 2015, it's not relevant. It's
not
not to
relevant.
Medellin. Medellin is
Yeah,
changing
yeah.
so fast. And Parque Lleras used to be a place where me, Andrew, and a lot of us would go. There were these statues of a naked man and woman and a penis hanging out. That's where we used to hang out. And we used to buy a bottle of rum and we'd chill there,
Yeah,
we'd
yeah.
drink. And then right
Meet
when it
new
was
people.
exactly,
Yeah.
meet cool people. We'd be the few foreigners there. You'd never see prostitutes and stuff. Now, I told Andrew this, we passed not even in Parque Lleras, but on Calle Diaz, the main street, in the gap between that parallel to or perpendicular to Parque Lleras, I feel disgusting. I feel like an absolute disgusting human being. Like the amount of, I think, just begging, panhandling,
Yeah.
and everything there, prostitution and stuff. Even in the daytime, I don't want to pass there. There's so many.
Yeah,
people.
daytime's cool. There's nobody out there because they're all sleeping. But what?
You got the night shift. I'm not trying to be up in the night. It's
Oh
hectic.
yeah,
man.
it's
hectic.
crazy. No, I mean I walked through there once, even 2 years ago with a friend of mine, and it was early, and these girls were just coming over to us, totally aggressive, and.
Yeah.
And there's different classes. There's the street hookers, and then there's there's upper class hookers,
Yeah.
and then there's the kind of call girls, whatever. But
elite
these,
hookers.
the ones that are they're coming at you, reaching out to
Grabbing you.
grab your crotch. It's funny, but
That's the only reason I
funny.
walk up there.
But yes, they had a little
A
massage.
nice crotch grab.
But hey, you guys go, you just go up the hill a little bit, and then you get into Provincia.
And then
area.
you're in
There's
the really
some
nice
classy, there's some classy
Classy
joints up
hookers.
there, classy hookers, and and then you got the bubblegum guys, right? They're trying to sell as much coke
Oh,
as they
yeah.
can. They walk around with bubblegum trays, but really, it's
They got
not where they make
one
their
stick
money.
of gum.
Yeah.
One stick of gum.
There's a big box and a stick of gum, and you're like, what are you selling? They're like Coke, weed. It's great, actually. You guys will find it really funny if you haven't been there. If you have and you're listening to this, but you're just reminiscing about Medellin, is how they come up there like chicle, which is gum, and then it goes from gum all the way to Coke in
Yeah,
in
1 second.
Chicle,
Marijuana,
Coca,
coca,
yeah.
coca.
Yeah,
Cocaine.
Wait, what?
Girls, and you're like, wait, what?
Wait,
You just offered me,
Yeah, I just wanted a stick of gum.
Yeah, a stick of gum, man.
Selling
Yeah.
me coke and prostitutes. Yeah,
It's
so
funny.
Well, I mean, I've learned a lot of stuff that we didn't talk about with Alan
Yeah.
in this episode, and I want to thank you for being on. I think it was definitely informative. I think people are gonna appreciate what we did today. And I hope that they contact you. And if they do want to contact you, James, how can they contact you?
Well, our websites are colombiavisas.com and medellinlawyer.com. I have some other smaller information sites, but if you're in the States, you can call us with the USA number is 1-305-767-2766, or in Colombia, you can call us in Medellin, 444-6634, or the cell phone is 301 337-1881. Lots of
And
numbers.
if you use that special code, what's your nickname? What's your nickname?
Tad.
If you say Tad, you get 2% off.
There you go.
2%
2% off if you use the name Tad.
You
That's
get some
my old
chiclets.
nickname.
And some
You
chiclets.
get some chiclets.
Our office is right by Parquejeros, so you know,
It's like a 2-for-1. You go there, you get some hookers. And
No, you get a nice crotch grab.
Yeah,
and
crotch grab.
and a visa.
Free crotch grab and a visa. Yeah, man. Hey, man. Real thanks for coming out. And I know, like, you're busy. You got that baby. I mean, it's amazing thing to have a baby growing up in Colombia. I don't know if you ever thought that your child would be bilingual, a half Latina. Whatever.
It's interesting. Yeah, she's bilingual, 2.5, speaks a lot. But yeah, and on that note, if there's any parents out there coming down here, need tips on schools or how to handle those kind of situations down here, just let me know.
Yeah, and actually I have a blog post, which my blog, which is very badly maintained, adventurejoe.com. A writer of ours, Jacqueline, very talented. If anybody's has a business and they're running a business here that they need like really strong writers, and you're not afraid to pay, Jacqueline's amazing. And she did a guest post all about having a family in Medellin and raising a family in Medellin, because she talked about schools, healthcare and stuff like that. What I'd actually love, if with Jacqueline's permission, is if you could, I don't know, do you write?
I write some stuff, yeah.
You write some stuff.
Whether
Whether it's writing or talking or whatever,
Yeah.
even if it's just video, throw it in there and have a male's perspective about raising a family, raising a child here. And I think, it'll be invaluable to that little small subset of folks that want to do that here.
Sure. You'll see more and more little mixed babies down here, like mine. It's just happening, right? It's natural, right? So, a lot of guys, single guys coming down here, but, a lot of guys coming down here and they might, they have a relationship with a girl, got a baby from a previous relationship, there's all kinds of scenarios,
Right.
but right, yeah, man.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, and thank you guys for watching us. We're on YouTube, Spotify, and all the platforms
All
out
the
there
platforms.
for podcast. I want to thank Flippy, aka Felipe,
My pleasure.
And our guest Jovan,
and our guest Jovan. Jovan was out here serving drinks, dishing out pizza,
learning some English.
Yeah.
as it goes along.
And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Remember that's Women's Appreciation Day or something. International Women's Day on Sunday. So go treat your woman out for some dinner.
Yeah.
A nice crotch grab, and we're good. See ya.
See you.
Thanks.
Hey, thank you, bro.
Treat your woman to some dinner and a crotch grab.
Well, before you go ahead and flush that toilet, you can find us on Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Castbox. You can see our ugly faces where, Joel?
You can see our ugly faces on YouTube.com.
And on Facebook and Instagram. See you guys later.
And always remember, wash your hands after taking that ugly dump.